G'day, Andy from Single Malt. Today I'm going to do a review of Singleton, which is a single malt whiskey from Dufftown. This particular expression is the Tailfire, which has a bright red label, and that indicates that the whiskey has lots of vibrant fruit. So I think the clever people at Diageo are trying to reflect the flavours that are within the whiskey by the labelling, something they do very effectively through their wine portfolio. So maybe this is an extension from some other liquor marketing being brought into single malt. So the Dufftown Distillery, it's an old, relatively old distillery, established in the late 1890s, 1895, making it, 120 years old. It's right near Dufftown, which is right in the middle of Speyside, and it's nearby some pretty big names that you might be familiar with, like Balvenie and that one, you ever heard of one called Glenfiddich? Well, it's just up the road. So, look, it's in a good area, the pedigree's there. It's a beautiful little distillery. I've actually been there, and it's right on a gorgeous little river and hidden away in a lovely little valley. It's very picturesque. But the distillery itself is really an engine room. It's one of the largest distilleries in Scotland. Scotland 12th or 12th largest, I think, in Scotland, making it a fair concern. It's got 3 sets of stills, and it really bangs it out. The majority of this whiskey goes into Bell's, which is one of the more popular blended whiskies, and only 3% ends up as a single malt. So, terrible shame, but that's the way it is. So, let's see what the Dufftown Tailfire has to offer. Now, the literature tells me that this is a blend of casks. It's American oak and then aged, finished in sherry. And I'll just have a look at that. It's got caramel added, so I'm not going to pay too much attention to the colour. The caramel, of course, adds little, if anything, to the flavour, but has a big impact on the colour. So that's come across as the typical whiskey brown. Nothing insightful there. Similar to the paintings behind me, I just noticed, which are more of an orange, but that one's got a definite brown hue. Right, very lifted, very the sherry's very overt. I'm not getting any peat, no peat. Look, it's unusual to have peat in Speysides, although traditional Speysides did have peat. These days, very, very few do. You actually have to go and look for specifically peated Speysides, things like Benriach or Benromark. Some of Benromark's expressions are peated. But this one smells unpeated, tint of smoke perhaps. But yeah, it's really driven by that rich fruit, that lovely dried fruit, that sherry, Oloroso or PX maybe, very, very fruity type casks. Okay, so the fruit really comes through. Wow, really comes through on the palate. Now, I was going to say it's not sweet, but then I thought about it again, and it kind of is, but it's not. And there's this balance going on where there's some underlying, not astringency, and it's not sour, but it's dryness that offsets the fruit. So it's in lovely balance. It comes and goes, and depending on where it is on the palate and how far you are along, having taken a first sip, it will change from being very fruit driven to nice and dry. And I'm getting this waves of both. The really bang fruit, things like like cherries and bananas, unusual in a single malt. Very very ripe, rich fruits, tropical fruit almost. But then underlying all of that is that rich, dried Christmas cake. So we're looking at things like sultanas and currants. Um, yeah, but beautiful. Bit of cookies and cream as well. Yum. There's a lot in this, but then not too much. It's not a really complex whiskey, but a very enjoyable whiskey. Mm. Oh, look, it's very, very pleasant, very drinkable. Um, yeah, I think those the balance of in and out with that real nice, rich fruit intensity, offset by the lovely dryness, makes it a really good dram. Give it a try. I like it.